before the sunrise with a coffee in his hand. Boxes full of metal memories lined up like marching bands. Saw blades and screwdrivers, ratchets on the wall. Old geek with tools, he's answering the call. He's the old geek with tools, finding work in every crack. Fixing what ain't broken, yeah, he never looks back. Routers and drills, heat guns and thrills. Old geek with tools, he's got time to kill. Got a power cord snaking around the floor like a snake. He'll sand, he'll paint, he'll weld, he'll make and remake. Worn out engines squealing, rusted knobs that won't turn. He's on a magic mission with every lesson learned. He's the old geek with tools, finding work in every crack.
I've been doing this mostly without saying anything because looking through my analytics on YouTube, the people are watching more of my video when I'm not talking than when I am. It's amazing all the things YouTube will share with you. You just ask, right? So I want to talk through this part. You just need to bear with me. I am going to this generator. This is you know which generator this is. Anyway, this was running. The guy I bought it from demonstrated it. He plugged a grinder in, it ran it. It runs way too fast, and I've discovered that it's because of this governor arm is bent, and I've straightened it back and moved it away so it's not rubbing on the casting anymore. Really, about all I got left to do on this. I've got the hopefully I've already plugged the part in here where I fixed the casting over here and aluminum brazed the new piece that I fabricated for it. I still got to do a little fitment on it. It's a little too long still, but anyway, one of the main things I got left to do is I'm just going to do a general cleaning on this carburetor and put it back on there. I'm not going to do anything drastic with it because, like I said, it was running. I just want to make sure all the jets are open and and that kind of thing. So what I've got out here for parts and pieces, tools. Um, this is for like an oxyacetylene type torch uh, tip cleaners. And basically, it's just hardened steel. It's got a little serration on them, so they can go through and clean some things up. I've got some, it's basically just twisted wire here, stainless steel, that of various diameters. And then for like the throat of this thing and going down in the fuel inlet, that kind of stuff, got the bore brushes. So I've discovered after working on a few of these things that the easiest way to get your carburetor off, the linkage in here is really short between the governor throttle and the carburetor. And you can get it off of there, but you gotta bend this thing up. So what I found to be the easiest was to just double nut these studs and take them out one at a time. I was going through one of my old toolboxes, old tool, and I found two more, 10 millimeter spanner type wrenches. This one's a 10 and a 12. But anyway, so now I have a few, which is good because, as you know, they tend to disappear on me. So anyway, I'm going to double nut these. And then hopefully I could use this to back this stud out of there, which turns out to be fairly loose to start with. Somebody's had this apart. Just for giggles. Yep. All right. Take the other nut off here. And I hope this is getting recorded. Good save. This is about the easiest way I know of to get these out of here. I typically use a little, like a blue thread locker when I put these back together, but I'm out right now. So I'll put it in. I don't have established torque values for this, but I usually put these in with about 7 foot-pounds or so. And because this is all aluminum casting, you don't want to get too carried away with it. This just makes it so much easier. Get the carburetor out. Plus, it lets you know, like in this case, I can tell this stud is slightly bent, which is fine. It'll work just fine. Save that gasket. Leave that back under there. Protected state. Get that spring to do a little adjusting. Well, that's not so bad. All right. Let's just clean the top of this off a little bit. Drain this bowl. Take the bowl off. This little drain plug here. Hang on, I gotta grab a screwdriver. There should be some fuel in the bowl because it looks like it was running. I've had it sideways, upside down, everything else. didn't want to move. It's pretty dark right on the end of that. So, no, we'll see what we will see. But gonna have to use the impact on this. Look, I have one right here. Hey, pops are right loose. Amazing tool. It doesn't look too bad. Like, yep, needle is not stuck, so that's good. Bowl's got a little dirt in it, so I'll clean that up. I could really use an ultrasonic cleaner. I think I'm gonna need to check in to get one of those. Something like this sure would make it easier. Get this all filled up. It's hard to see, but yeah, needle and seat looks not gunked up or anything. Got main jet here. I don't remember if the emulsion tube comes out on these or not. We'll give it a try. I won't fight it too hard. If it doesn't want to come out, well, that's okay. Okay. Okay, moves pretty easy. That's good. I can see light through it, so I know it's not plugged. Yeah, this is not threaded. It is either going to pop out of there, and most likely it isn't. Either way, I can make sure the main path through there is clear. Yeah, it's pressed in. We're just going to leave it. I'll see if I can find one of these. Small, it's clear. Just basically making sure all of the passages are clear. Probably don't have you in frame there, did I? Y'all need to yell at me when I do that. Yeah, ultrasonic cleaner would speed this process along quite a bit, I think. Some of my favorite YouTubers have them, and I can see why. They do an excellent job. To get the teeniest, tiniest one of these. I am. It's okay. I can edit it out. All right. That's about all I could do for it. Okay, let's put it back together. Hey, here we go. It is another new day. It was about 106 out here yesterday when I was working on this, and I'm kind of old and I don't deal with the heat that well, so I set everything aside, said I'll finish it up in the morning. So now it's, gosh, I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? It's not quite 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's only 82 out here right now, so let's get this let's get this part finished up while we can. I got the jet back in the main jet back in here, emulsion tubes all clear. I'd run the cleaners through here, used carb cleaner, gum out, jet spray. You want to be real careful and not try not to get it on the seat for the needle and seat. Sometimes they'll make that swell and be a problem. Not always, but I've experienced that happening. So anyway, let's finish putting this together. And man, that thing just barely hangs on there. This was a lot easier in my younger days. Just a little tiny wire hanger on there that hangs on this little bit of metal. There we go. Try to keep you in frame here. This is, I believe, this is the original carburetor for this thing. And they go back together. The spin will go in either way. I've come across a couple of aftermarket that don't. They only go in one way. But it's a little higher than I would like it to be, but I'm not going to mess with it. It was working before, so I'm not going to change it. If I needed to, I could take it back off and just do a slight bend in this little tab right here. Right here. You could bend that just slightly, and that'll change the angle of this. But a lot of times you kind of want that level across here. This one's up a little bit, but I can tell that the needle is going all the way in because it gets slack where it attaches to this little metal tab right here. So I think that'll work just fine. The O-ring in here, you want to keep an eye on that. Again, the carb cleaner sometimes, depending on the material, sometimes will make these things swell. This one popped out on me yesterday, and I left it lay out last night. I put it back in this morning, and it fit in there just fine, so it hasn't swollen. Actually, you know, it goes like that. I'll turn that around here. Leaves us with the bowl drain here. If you're going to store one of these for any length of time, most of the time when I shut one of these down, I just close the fuel valve and let it run until it runs the carburetor as dry as possible. And you want to, if the carburetor you're using has a drain on it, then go ahead and pop that open. In this particular case, it has a little needle valve on here. You can open this up and it'll drain out of here. And go ahead and drain that bowl. Get it as dry as you can, because otherwise, fuel, even stabilized fuel, will eventually turn to varnish. And even stable, I don't want to say anything necessarily bad about it, but I've seen the effects of having stable set for years, and it doesn't really do it any favors either. So another thing I'm noticing about this is there's a twist right here that shouldn't be. So I'm going to get a couple of pairs of pliers here, see if I can take that twist out of it. Yeah, it's much better. All right, I'm going to put this bad boy back together and get it mounted on there. Let's get you hooked up first. Sunlight coming in here just makes it a little difficult to see this. this anti-surge spring back down where it belongs. I know it fits in there. I just took it out a little while ago, yesterday, but still. There we go. All right. Make sure that the linkage is properly positioned in here. And there we go. That's what I say. It's just so much easier to just take the stud bolts out. Let's get this rear gasket in place. Okay, they're started and that still works. And I just run these in, get them finger tight, because when I torque this in place on final reassembly, the nut will come down here and everything, the torque effect will get the studs in there where they belong. I'm going to put this gasket on, and I'm just going to put these on backwards just to snug this down. I'm not going to try to torque it right now. Probably here in the next day or so I'm going to try a test run on this. And these nuts have a serration on them, and if you run it right up against the gasket itself, it'll tear the gasket up. And while I have more gaskets, there's no need in replacing them if I don't need to. So we're just going to get that good and snug, and we're going to, that moves the way it should. Very good. All right, that is enough for now. All right, getting ready to put this little 63cc jobber back together. This one was actually in not terrible shape, other than a few obvious flaws. So we'll just go over real quick what I've gotten done with it, and when I thought the camera was recording and it wasn't, and I'm not taking it back off now just to put it on for you because it's 4 bolts. Anyway, what I did, and I've showed you this repair before, this is where I fabricated the little piece of 1/4 inch aluminum and brazed it in place there, and then built a little backing plate for it down here. And what I did was I took, rather than the normal shroud bolts, which are whatever that is, I think that's probably 8 millimeters long, something like that. I measured it, but anyway, I got some 16 millimeter long 6 millimeter bolts, and I ran those both through there. And then I put the lock nuts, 6 millimeter lock nuts, stainless. It's all stainless steel. On the back, it holds that backing plate in place, and that's as strong as I can make it. If it needs more than that, I'll have to take it all back apart again and do it with maybe oxyacetylene or something, which I don't have. So anyway, I think it'll be fine. Got the feet on, and I've got the shroud back in place, and I torqued it down to 6 foot-pounds on the 4 shroud bolts there. And so we'll just go ahead and finish putting this back together, And I'll time lapse some of this for you so you don't have to sit and watch the painfully slow progress of the old geek. I did ask ChatGPT to come up with torque values because I looked and looked and looked, could not find a manual that had viable torque values in here. So anyway, this is what I got. And there's a lot of ranges. Like this one, I did 6 foot-pounds on here, and it says somewhere between 3 and 8. Well, middle of that is 6, so that's what it got. And I'll follow this to the extent possible. When I do the carburetor mounting studs, probably do that about between 7 and 8 foot-pounds on the studs down here. And that's going to be next. I did took the muffler off, wire wheeled everything, put some high temperature paint on it. It's got an MGK plug in it now, gap to 30 thousandths. I left the coil, it tests good, and we already covered the capacitor on here, so it's cleaned up, contacts are cleaned and back in place. Got it set as close as I can get it, 7.5. It's just a hair over 7. Let you take a peek in here while I hook this back up. This is the ground wire to the chassis. I've seen different ones run a zip tie around here lengthwise, but there's a decent clip right there. I don't really see the need for that, so I'm going to not do that. Get the capacitor mounted back in here where it belongs. I did put a meter on this kill switch a few days ago and made sure that it still has good continuity across it, so it should work. I rarely use the kill switch on these things. Reason being that it runs so infrequently that I'll test run it, and then it'll be probably a month before I test all of my generators every month, and so it'll be at least a month before it gets tested again. Well, I don't want that fuel, even though I use fuel stabilizer, I don't want that just setting and getting old or whatever, so in the carburetor. So I just turn the fuel off, and I'll show you here in a bit. But anyway, let it run until the engine quits, and that gets the bowl as empty as I can get it. If I need to, if something's going on and I need to change some wiring around, plug something in or unplug something or whatever, I'll go ahead and kill it with this. But before I put this away for any length of time, I'm going to start it up, get it running, warmed up, and then I'll turn the fuel off and just let it run out, run the bowl dry. So that's how I do it. Let's get Get this back on. I did oil the foam filter in here. Alrighty, folks. I'm gonna real quick cover a mistake I made. Yes, I know. Bear with me. I had ordered. Make sure we can get you in frame here. I had ordered a fuel valve shutoff that's very common to, I would say, a vast majority of these Chinese-based generators of all different types. And you can see the filter goes up into the tank and down, and it exits to the left. Well, that wouldn't work with this one. If you look carefully down here, you can see there's no room on the left for that to exit. So I had to stop, order the right part, and waited a couple of days. So now we're ready to proceed. I just got the fuel line ran. I had a little problem with kinking the hose, so I took brand new fuel line, and I took some 14 gauge copper wire, about 3 strands of it, and inserted it in the tubing, made the bend I wanted to make, and then I put it in some rolling boiling water, and boiled it for about, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then I took it out, cooled it down with some cold water, brought it back out here, and ran and blew water out of it and that kind of stuff. So now it has a curve in it that doesn't kink. So hopefully this will work. I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the bolts on the tank, and then I'll put some fuel in, and we'll see if we can get her running. Mixed gas 50 to 1. It's a recommended amount for this type of generator. I even got the official stickers. I do have the kilowatt meter hooked up here. I've got the heat gun, which this absolutely will not run that heat gun on high on its normal 1500 watt, but it handles the lower value, or at least the other one that I rebuilt handled it just fine. Doesn't like it, of course, but we'll run it. First, I want to try to get it running, and then I got a governor adjustment probably to make in here. We'll try to get this set to around 61.5 hertz. See if it stabilizes there. Engine switch and run, choke on, circuit breaker's doing its thing. Not, well, I can smell gas. I don't see any leaking out anywhere. Let's see what we do. All right. Governor adjustment's not having any effect, so we're going to shut things off here for a little bit. I want to open it up and see what's going on. All right, quick update. I tried to lower the governor setting down to minimum. Turns out whoever had this open before me had the governor spring attached. You know what? I'll just show you. Take your anti-nausea pills. Governor adjustment. This little bolt comes through here with a spring on it. Goes down to a little lever. The governor spring is right here. Every one of these I've worked on in the past, and I should have realized this. They've all been in this third hole up. And in this case, it was down here in the second one, which was going to apply more throttle pressure, keep it open, make it run harder, whatever. So I moved it back up to here and reattached this and got ready to start it again. And I noticed a little fuel leaking out the bottom. So I checked, and I have now fuel leaks from the carburetor, throat of the carburetor, when I turn the fuel valve on with the tank attached, obviously. And that tells me that that needle and seat aren't really playing well together. So at this point, I'm going to have to disassemble again, take the carburetor off. I do now have a cleaner for this, an ultrasonic cleaner. Just got recently. I'll do a review on it at some point, but for now, I want to pull this off, open it back up, clean it all up again, and put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, run that for a few minutes, and see if that, put it all back together and see if that works any better. So I'm not going to bore you with another carburetor repair. I may show you the ultrasonic cleaner when I get that far. But you saw me do the carburetor work before, and there's no really use in going through that again. So anyway, that's the plan right now. I'm going to disassemble, get the carb off, take it apart, and make sure everything's clear. Get the get it into the ultrasonic cleaner, put it all back together, see how we go. We're going to tore down. I'm ready to put this in. Just take a quick look at it before we get started here. I'm going to see if we'll make any progress. I'm just using a little Cascade in here right now. I'm waiting on my heavy-duty cleaner from the jungle site, and it isn't here yet today, so we're just going to just a little bit, like about a half a cap full of liquid Cascade. So I'm going to put this in here, and I got all the jets and everything in here. That can float around. We'll put the bowl in here as well. We'll top that off, fire it up, let it go about 10 minutes, see what we got. Alright, got it out of the ultrasonic cleaner. Cleaned up pretty well. I mean, it could stand to be in there a little bit longer, but it came out alright. There's the bowl. No more debris in there. Floats good. Of course, there's no way this POS camera is going to focus on this, but the needle actually looks good. There's no ring, or it's a soft seat. I mean, it's a kind of a rubberized texture on there, but it appears to be in good shape. All I can do is put it back together, give it a try. If this doesn't work, I'm going to set this one aside and put a new one on here because I'm tired of messing with it. Anyway, I'll bring you back when I got it put back together and ready to try it. winding up somehow for some reason. Alright, I was going to start from the engine not running, but it's already running and it's running great, so I'm just going to show you. Right now, just setting it idle, no load on it at all. It bounces around between basically 120 and down to about 116. As far as frequency, it's staying right around 61 hertz. And typically on a generator, you want to set it a little bit high anyway. I can bring it down, but that's going to bring the voltage down even further. So there's no AVR, automatic voltage regulator on these things. Trust me, it's an intense balance between idle jet, and the governing spring tension to make it perform. Anyway, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to turn that heat gun on low, and then I'll show you the results. This is putting, it's still 118 volts or 119. That's good. That's good voltage. And 61 hertz isn't terrible for a little generator like this. 6 amps, 599, 597, 6 amps. A little over 700 watts. Keeping in mind, this thing is only rated at 800, and it would struggle at that, I'm sure. So we're right at, say, 90% of capacity there. And it's maintaining it, no problem. It's struggling a little, but it's running solid. It's doing what it should. Now, I'm going to turn the heat gun back off. We'll listen for it to recover. The voltage always overshoots just a little, but then it balances out right around 118, 120, right there, and back to about 61 hertz. So I'm calling this done. It was a success. It was a hard-earned success. I put a little more time and effort into this one than some previous ones, even doing internal builds and things previously. With the foot repair on the thing, brazing a new piece, fabricating and brazing a new piece in. I ended up putting that new surge spring in here, straightened out some linkages. Ended up with a new carburetor. And I see, I also went ahead and replaced the capacitor. Even though the old one tested good, I'm going to set it aside for, I don't know, a rainy day, I guess. They're cheap. Might as well just stick a new one in. So anyway, we're going to call that good. Thanks for watching.